Hey up everyone, hope you're all doing well. How would Alexandre Pantoja do if he went up to the Bantamweight division and challenged all the top 15 ranked fighters? And just before we get started, from ranked 15 to 11th, I'm only going to do 3-round fights, whereas the top 10, I'm just going to do 5-round fights, as I think it makes a lot more sense to do that. So to start off at number 15, we have Vinicius Oliveira, a very, very good striker, but ultimately, I think I don't have to go too in-depth with this one. I think that Pantoja would absolutely bum Vinicius Oliveira. I like Vinicius Oliveira, he's very fun to watch, but just from what I've seen alone, I haven't seen too much grappling from him, or grappling defense, should I say. And Pantoja, knowing what we know with him, knowing how well he mixes it all up, I think he would absolutely do in Vinicius Oliveira with relative ease, either getting a submission victory or a wide scorecard decision. Now, next up at number 14, we have Montel Jackson, who's got some serious power in his hands, some decent striking, but ultimately, just like the last one, Vinicius Oliveira, I think that Pantoja probably gets a submission in this one, if not a wide scorecard. We've seen him be troubled by Brett Johns, who's a grappler, and Ricky Simone, who has decent grappling as well. So ultimately, I think that Pantoja will come out on top of this one. And now at number 13, we have Marcus McGhee, Petr Yan's next victim. But anyways, let's not get into that matchup. I think that Pantoja would win this one, but low-key, I think Marcus McGhee might cause some issues for Pantoja for like the first half of the first round. That's about it. And maybe being a bit generous there, but he's very explosive. He has a lot of energy. He slows down a lot as the fight progresses, and that's when I think Pantoja would really take over. But the quality from him and Pantoja, there's a clear difference there. So ultimately, I think maybe McGhee could trouble him a tad in like the first 2 minutes. Other than that, it's all Pantoja, in my opinion. A wide scorecard decision, or again, a submission victory. After this, at number 12, we have Phillips, a very, very exciting striker, but I honestly think Pantoja would make quick and light work of Phillips. I like Phillips, but I feel like Pantoja will be able to find a backpack Phillips and be able to get a submission victory. He did that before in lightweight. I can't remember which fight it was. Was it Alex Perez? I can't exactly remember. But yeah, he made light work of someone like that before, and I think he'll be able to do the exact same to Phillips. I don't think Phillips would have much of a chance at all, unfortunately. Next up at number 11, we have Aieman Zahabi. Sorry, guys. But yes, Aieman Zahabi, I think he could do okay. I don't think he'll get finished by Pantoja. I think Pantoja would win with relative ease. I don't think he would finish Aieman Zahabi. After Aieman Zahabi's performance against Cejudo, I think he's quite well-rounded, quite decent, just okay, nothing crazy. I think it'll go to a decision. I don't think Aieman Zahabi would actually get finished by Pantoja. And now we get to number 10. This is where the 5-round fights start, and this gets a lot more interesting now, guys. I think we all knew from 15 to 11th Pantoja was going to blast through those guys, but now at number 10, we have Henry Cejudo. Now, stylistically, I'm actually really intrigued by this one. Henry Cejudo, great grappler, decent striking, decent cardio, okay fight IQ, got a lot of experience, and obviously used to be a former flyweight with who was a former champion, beat Demetrius Johnson, a former 2-weight champion as well. So again, Henry Cejudo, I feel like Henry Cejudo, he's fell a fair amount. Current Henry Cejudo, I think Pantoja would beat him at 135, I'll be completely honest. If this was like a prime Cejudo, I would struggle with picking out this one, but as a current Cejudo, I just think Pantoja will be able to overwhelm him simply, make him uncomfortable, actually get some takedowns on him, to be completely honest with you, because he mixes it up so well. I think it would take Henry Cejudo by surprise. When it comes to on the feet, yeah, Cejudo's a more cleaner and technical striker, but I just think that Pantoja's got that dog in him and will make it really difficult for Henry Cejudo. Even over 5 rounds, I think Henry Cejudo would lose this, and Pantoja would win by like, what, a 49-46 scorecard. I don't think Pantoja will be capable of finishing Henry Cejudo necessarily, but I do think he'll get a wide scorecard decision over Henry Cejudo. Next up at number 9, we have Rob Font, who I actually like a lot. I think he's a great boxer, but when I watched that fight between him and Deiveson Figuiredo, he had no answer whatsoever for Figueiredo's grappling. Now, Figuiredo does have good grappling in all fairness, but I do think Pantoja's grappling overall, his offensive grappling, how relentless he is, his output, it's just too much, and he does a much better job of mixing everything up as well. And Rob Font struggled a lot against Figuiredo, who was a former flyweight as well. Maybe he does get this submission victory. I think he's been submitted by Pedro Munoz in the past, so I think maybe a submission victory in like the 3rd, maybe 4th round, or it's going to be a wide decision for Pantoja. And now next up at number 8, we have Mario Bautista, and even though I don't like the guy, I'm not exactly keen on him. Low-key, I think Mario Bautista could nick this one. Maybe a lot of you don't like what I'm saying here, but I just thought he looked really switched on against Patchy Mix. I think he's going to be, I think we all kind of underrate him to an extent. Kind of like how we all underrated Bilal because we let our hate get in the way of everything after what he did to Cejudo. But I actually do think he's a very well-rounded, good fighter, and I feel like he might be in his prime right now. Against Patchy Mix looked like dog shit, but I also think that Mario Bautista looked great as well. He was very switched on. His grappling, I mean, he didn't really have to use his grappling, but his striking was really crisp and really switched on. And when it comes comes to his grappling, he is okay at grappling as well. Maybe Pantoja will be able to find a submission victory, but I feel like I could see Mario Bautista maybe nicking a very close and competitive decision over the course of 5 rounds. Ultimately, I am going to say that I think that Pantoja would win this one by, again, just mixing everything up. We didn't really see Patchy Mix do that. He tried to stand and trade for like the first 2 rounds, attempted 1 takedown attempt in the 3rd and final round. I don't think Pantoja would do that. We don't really ever see him do that. He's always coming at you full speed, throwing everything at the wall, and I think he'll do exactly that against Mario Bautista. And I'd love to see how Mario Bautista would handle that. But I could see this one. I feel like this would be somewhat of a 50-50 stylistically, but I am going to just give the nod to Alexandre Pantoja, like a 48-47 decision his way. And now we move to number 7, and we have Chito Vera. And to be honest, I think this will be one of the easier matchups for Pantoja. Chito Vera, he's not known for like a load of technical skill. Don't get me wrong, he has a bit of technique to him, but his output's really shit. His fight IQ's not the best. He's just known more for his durability and having stupid power and good cardio as well, to be fair, but it probably helps that he's fighting at such a slow pace and barely throws anything out. I feel that's what makes his cardio look better than what it actually is. I think Pantoja would have an absolute field day with Chito Vera. We've seen Chito Vera be grappled by Figuiredo, not only that, Cory Sandhagen as well, and I think Pantoja has better grappling than both of those guys, and not only that, he does a great job of mixing it up. Maybe Chito Vera could tag Pantoja, but Pantoja does have a great chin as well, so I'm going to say a wide scorecard decision for Pantoja. I think this will be the easiest fight for him out of all of the people in the top 10. Oh, and now we get to a rematch. Him and number 6 ranked Deiveson Figuiredo. How would this one play out? Now, I love this matchup. We saw this in like, what, 2019, I believe it was, where Deiveson Figuiredo landed, he made a highlight reel out of Pantoja. He did a great job, dropped Pantoja. Pantoja demonstrated a great chin against Figuiredo, and I've always wondered how a rematch would have gone at Flyweight, but at 135, I don't know how this one plays out, I'll be honest. Now, we have seen Figuiredo suffer a bit of a decline in his last 2 fights against Cory Sandhagen and Petr Yan, so I might side with Pantoja, but I do think this will be quite competitive. The thing is, for Pantoja, what really hurts him in this bantamweight division, he doesn't really have much power, whereas when Figuiredo came up, he already had stupid power, and he had a good base when it comes to his grappling, so if he couldn't get his grappling off, he always had that equalizer with his striking and with his power, whereas Pantoja doesn't offer that. The only thing he can really weaponize is his output and just being so chaotic. Now, would that work against Figuiredo? I think it could work in moments, and 5 rounds, I think, definitely benefits Pantoja compared to benefiting Figuiredo. I still think this is quite a hard matchup, but ultimately, I think it's going to be quite competitive. 49-46 or 48-47 in Pantoja's favor. I don't think Figuiredo wins. Maybe he nicks a few rounds by dropping Pantoja possibly, but ultimately, I just think where both guys are in their career, I think Pantoja is more in his prime, should I say, while he's in better condition. I think that Pantoja would win this one. Now, next up, we have number 5 ranked Song Yadong. How would this one play out? Wow, this is a hard one, man, because Song Yadong, he's still only young. He's still in his 20s, I believe, not even in his 30s yet, and he's fought the who's who of the bantamweight division: Cory Sandhagen, Chito Vera, Petr Yan. He's fought many good names in that bantamweight division, and he's super talented. Now, I feel like with Song Yadong, he just can never really put it all together against the elite opposition. I know he was looking great against Henry Cejudo, but would you consider him elite opposition anymore? I'm not exactly sure. So for this one, I found it really interesting because Song Yadong, great hands, great striking in general, very explosive. He can hurt you, very fast, and he's a very good anti-grappler, so I feel like Pantoja would struggle, but I'd love to see how this one will play out because I feel like Song Yadong would take the first 2 rounds quite clearly, but then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I'd love to see how that plays in it here, but I feel like this could be a very hard fight for Pantoja. I want to say that Song Yadong could win this one. I might end up going with Pantoja, but this will be a very hard fight. I'll consider this a 50-50 fight, in all fairness with you. It's just about whether Song Yadong can put the pieces together. We have seen him fail with this against, again, the likes of Petr Yan and Cory Sandhagen. Could he put it together against someone like Pantoja? Who knows? We need to see him in there against someone who's just going to constantly try and grapple against him, who is elite. Pantoja does offer that. I think I'm going to go with a 48-47 for Pantoja. Possibly could be a 48-47 for Song Yadong, but final verdict, I'm going to say 48-47 for Pantoja. And now we get to number 4 ranked Cory Sandhagen, and I'm going to be honest, this is where I'm very comfortable with saying and very confident with saying this is where Pantoja loses. I've been saying, oh, he may lose to this guy, he might not be, it'll be very competitive. I think Cory Sandhagen would win like a 49-46. I think Sandhagen is all wrong for Pantoja. Again, maybe Pantoja can cause it difficult with his mixing it up like we saw Umar did, but ultimately, do I think Pantoja could do that for 25 minutes and be able to mix it up? We saw Umar do a lot of striking. I feel like Sandhagen will be able to figure out Pantoja on the feet. I know I always say that Sandhagen always bottles it when it comes to fighting the elite, and that sometimes sometimes his fight IQ lets him down, but I think he'll be able to do enough. He's quite tall and lengthy for the bantamweight division, and I feel like that could cause a lot of problems for Pantoja. So ultimately, I do think that Cory Sandhagen would win this a 48-47 or a 49-46. Pantoja, I think, will trouble him maybe for like the first 2 rounds, but after that, I feel like once Sandhagen gets used to the, well, not the rhythm, but gets used to fighting Pantoja, I feel like he'll be able to take those last few rounds and also land a bit of damage on Pantoja as well, which would help him a lot. So I'm going to go with Cory Sandhagen to win this one. Next up at number 3, we have my favorite fighter, Petr Yan, and I think Petr Yan would absolutely style on Pantoja. I'm going to be completely honest. I think when it comes to the striking, I think he'll be able to deal with the unorthodox and the chaotic rampage from Pantoja. And not only that, when it comes to the grappling, we saw how he was doing with Aljo's grappling in the very first fight. I know he's been dominated since by Merab, and also in the second fight against Aljo, he had a lot more success with his grappling. But still, I think that Petr Yan will be able to handle the grappling of Pantoja and the pace of it as well. Petr Yan loves going at his own pace, and I think he'll be able to set and dictate the pace and the control of this fight compared to someone like Pantoja. Usually with Pantoja, he likes to take the pace of the fight and be able to dictate what's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen against Petr Yan. That's a very hard thing to do against him, hence why so many fights of his are so close, again, apart from Merab, who set his own pace and dictated it. But regardless, I think Petr Yan is too smart on the feet. He's too well-rounded. His fight IQ is amazing. He's got good cardio, very good defensive grappling, and very good defense in general. And I don't think it's like he was styling on Figuiredo, but Figuiredo was able to win a round because he dropped him. I don't think Pantoja is able to drop Yan or has the striking in order to do so. So I'm going to go with Petr Yan by a 50-45 or a 49-46. I think this will be quite comfortable for Petr Yan. And second in the rankings, we have Umar Nurmagomedov, and I still really believe in Umar, and I think that Umar gets a wide decision over Pantoja. Maybe some of you guys don't like that. I feel like Umar, even though he lost to Merab and people are clowning on him for it, which I completely understand because the fan base is quite fucking annoying, but regardless, I still think he's a very good fighter who's not even in his 30s yet. Yeah, he lost to Merab, but he did very well against Merab. Won the first 2 rounds. Yeah, he lost it in the end, but it was very competitive. Didn't make it easy for Merab like we see Merab smash other people. So I think Umar definitely will be back, and I think he would absolutely style on Pantoja. I think he would actually grapple with Pantoja. I think he would see, out of everyone we've seen, I think people would be quite reluctant and scared of grappling with Pantoja. I don't think that would be the case for Umar. I think he would actually grapple a lot with Pantoja and actually have Pantoja second guessing on what's actually happening with him, mixing in the grappling and the striking as well. His cardio needs to be worked upon, so maybe that is an area for Pantoja to expose and be able to win the later rounds against him. But ultimately, I could see Umar winning the first 3 rounds. Again, it's not like Pantoja offers much on the feet, which is where I think that's what's really costing Pantoja against the elite in the bantamweight division. Just not having enough pop in his shots and not having the best technique in his shots. He's very, again, just crazy with it, wild with it. I don't think that's enough in that bantamweight division. I think we're just too switched on, and I think the striking's too good, and they're very capable of hurting you. And I think Umar would get a wide decision, 50-45 for Umar Nurmagomedov against Pantoja. And then at number 1, we have Sean O'Malley. Now, this one's very interesting because I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but Sean O'Malley and Pantoja have a bit of history. There was a time when Pantoja was saying he didn't get hurt in sparring against Sean O'Malley, and then Sean O'Malley released a video of him hurting Pantoja, and it was only like a 20-second clip. In all fairness, we haven't seen the rest of the sparring, so who knows what else had gone on. But there's a bit of history there. There's a seed that's been planted for these two, but who would actually win? I don't know. I think this could be quite competitive, man. I think Pantoja could do quite well when it comes to mixing in his grappling, but oh man, I mean, we just saw him struggle with Merab, but I feel like Merab's he's just a different beast compared to Pantoja, in my opinion. And I do think O'Malley would take this, but I do think it'll be very competitive. Maybe like a 48-47. I think there'll be times where Pantoja's able to take the back of O'Malley and have him, you know, struggling and troubled. And I think he'll be able to take down O'Malley. I just don't think he'll be able to hold O'Malley down for long periods of time. And on the feet, I feel like O'Malley would really make Pantoja pay for as long as he can't get it to the ground. I feel like it would really hurt him a lot. As we saw in the 20-second clip, he hit him with a body shot. I think O'Malley will be very confident in his striking, hurting Pantoja whenever he lands. And I also agree. I think this will be like a 48-47 in Sean O'Malley's favor. And last but not least, we have the champion himself, Merab Dvalishvili, taking on the flyweight champion, Alexandre Pantoja. And if you haven't seen my video from a few days back saying champ be champ, you know how this one plays out. I think that Merab absolutely runs through Pantoja. I know people really want to see it, but me personally, I don't think Pantoja will have an answer for Merab's relentless fearlessness and grappling. And not only that, Merab is very dense, very broad, a big guy. His cardio is absolutely insane. I know Pantoja has, it's a bit sus his cardio because he doesn't have the best of cardio. He gasses out quite quickly, but he's great at fighting whilst fatigued. And I think that's why people get it mixed up and think he has great cardio. He doesn't necessarily. He just does a great job of fighting whilst fatigued. You have it like with Dricus du Plessis and Dominic Cruz as well. They just know how to fight when they are tired. Pantoja is one of them who can still fight really well when he is tired, but again, he does get tired. And what doesn't Merab do? He doesn't get tired. So I think that is a key part here. I think Merab will be able to hurt Pantoja on the feet. He's been doing a lot better with his striking recently against the likes of Sean O'Malley and Umar. So I think that Merab would take this, and I think he would absolutely run through Pantoja. I think it'll be a 50-45 scorecard, maybe even 50-44. Could even see maybe even a late stop, ground and pound stoppage for Merab. I really think this would be a demolition job for Merab and put a statement against Pantoja. That's it from me, guys. That's how I think that Pantoja would do against the top 15 bantamweights. I do wonder whether he'll move up one day, but if not, it's cool. But what did you guys make of it? Who do you think would give him the hardest fight? Who do you think he beats? Who do you think he loses to? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.